To start the game as a GM, from the main menu, click on Host Game. Next, you'll see multiple slots listing New Game for creating a save game. Selecting a new or existing game listed will give you the option to host and load up the server. You will see these options on the right. Note, progress in any of these games is only saved by the GM. The server is live when you, the Game Master, find yourself inside the tower. You can move around the tower using the thumbsticks on your controller. At this point, as the GM, you can wait for warrior players to join, or you can load up a dungeon immediately. Load a dungeon by selecting a page from the dungeon book in the tower. Once selected, the dungeon will appear on the table in the middle of the room. In Tabletop Warriors, the Game Master does not join the warrior players in the dungeon on the table, but instead oversees and influences the activities with a view from above. The Game Master player hosts the game and manipulates the dungeon for the players. The GM can choose to help or harm the players. When the dungeon is loaded on the table, the GM hovers over the table and uses their inventory cards to place various objects into the dungeon. To toggle your inventory cards, you can press a thumbstick on the controller down. Move your thumbstick left or right to cycle through the cards. Use an object that's displayed on a card by grabbing that card with the opposite hand. Use the grip or middle finger button to begin grabbing and then pull the card away. Once the card is pulled away, it will turn into the object that you want to place. While holding the object with the grip button, hover over the dungeon board and a green cursor will appear where you can place the object. A red cursor means that it is an invalid place and you cannot place the object there. Simply let go of the grip button to place the object. As the GM, you will use your cards and the dungeon board to hinder the warriors and keep them from beating the dungeon. A few notes when placing monsters and traps. Monsters, such as goblins and ratmen, can only be placed on spawners. Traps can only be placed on squares that have never been stepped on by players. And spawners need to be placed a certain distance from both the players and other spawners. Once the dungeon is loaded, the warrior players can enter it whenever they want. As the GM, you can place cards in the dungeon board whenever you want, as long as you have those cards in your inventory. Next, the GM waits for all the warrior players to arrive in the tavern board, which is located on a crate, also in the tower room. Once the warrior players arrive in the tavern, they can enter the dungeon board from there.